Picture this. A single word stings like a dart. A sideways glance cuts deeper than a knife. A small gesture, barely noticeable to anyone else, sends your heart racing, your mind spiraling, as if the tiniest thing could unravel you completely. Sound familiar? If you've ever felt like the world holds the power to break you, like you're walking through life with your heart exposed, then my friend, today is the day everything changes. What if I told you that no one, absolutely no one, can hurt you unless you hand them the keys to your peace? That's right. There's a strength inside you, lying dormant, waiting to be unleashed. It's not about numbing your feelings or pretending you're unbreakable. It's about building a mental fortress so solid, so unshakable that no insult, no rejection, no chaos can touch you. Today you're going to learn how to stand tall, look the world in the eye, and say, "I'm here and I don't crack." This isn't just a pep talk, it's a transformation rooted in ancient wisdom that's been battle-tested by philosophers, warriors, and everyday people who faced the worst and came out stronger. By the end of this, you won't be an emotional punching bag anymore. You'll be a force, calm, steady, and untouchable. Ready to become the hero of your own story? Let's dive in. Let me tell you about someone who was once as fragile as a house of cards in a storm. His name was Leo, and for years he lived like his worth was tied to what others thought of him. If his boss raised an eyebrow, Leo was convinced he was one step from being fired. If his best friend didn't text back right away, he'd spend hours wondering what he'd done wrong. A harsh word, a cold tone, even a moment of silence. It was enough to send him into a tailspin. On the outside, Leo was the guy everyone loved. Warm, reliable, always ready with a smile. But inside, he was a mess, like a ship taking on water with every wave. Every comment from someone else was like a crack in his hull, letting doubt and pain flood in. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a regular Wednesday, and Leo was presenting a project he'd poured his heart into. Halfway through, his manager cut him off. No yelling, no insults, just a quiet, razor-sharp comment in front of the whole team. "Is this really the best you can do?" The room went silent. Leo felt his face burn, his chest tighten. He mumbled through the rest of the presentation, but inside, he was crumbling. That night, he sat alone in his apartment, staring at his reflection in a dark window. "Why does everything hit me so hard?" he whispered. It was a question he'd never dared ask out loud before. Leo couldn't sleep. He started digging for answers, scrolling through articles about confidence, mindfulness, anything that might explain why he felt so raw. Then he stumbled across a quote that stopped him cold. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It was from Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced betrayal, war, and loss, yet somehow stayed steady. At first, Leo scoffed. "Power over my mind when I'm already drowning?" It felt like a cruel joke, but that quote wouldn't leave him alone. It was like a song stuck in his head, playing over and over. Slowly, he started to get it. The problem wasn't the world, it was how he let the world in. He was giving everyone else control, letting their words and actions define him. What if he could take that control back? What if he could choose what got through and what didn't? That was the spark that set Leo on a new path. It wasn't instant. It was messy, awkward, and sometimes painful. But he started small. The next time a coworker snapped at him, he felt the familiar sting. But instead of spiraling, he took a breath. "This isn't about me," he told himself. "This is about them." He started journaling every night, writing down what hurt him and why, then rewriting how he'd handle it with the strength he wanted to have. When his sister made a snarky comment about his career, he didn't shrink or snap back. He looked her in the eye and said, "I'm working on my path and I'm good with it." His voice was calm, but it carried a new kind of weight. Over time, Leo changed. He was still sensitive. He felt things deeply, and that was okay. But he stopped letting those feelings rule him. He stopped handing his heart to people who didn't deserve it. He learned to pause, to breathe, to choose his response instead of reacting on autopilot. Today, Leo walks through life differently. He's not perfect, but he's steady. He's not invincible, but he's untouchable in the ways that matter. If he can do it, so can you. Because this isn't about being born tough or having some mystical gift. It's about making a choice to stop being a victim of the world's chaos and start being the master of your own mind. That's what we're building today. A mind so strong, so clear that no one can shake it. And the best part, you don't need to change the world to get there. You just need to change you. So let's get to work. If this is already lighting a fire in you, drop a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you're ready to stop letting get to you? Or just write, I'm unbreakable. My peace is mine. That's your first step, your promise to yourself. Let's keep going. Here's the first key to becoming emotionally untouchable. If you don't react, you've already won. Think about it. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when a coworker throws shade, when your partner snaps at you, your first instinct is to fire back, right? Your heart races, your palms sweat, and you want to say something, do something, prove you're not invisible. That's your brain doing what it's wired to do. Thousands of years ago, that instant reaction kept you alive when a predator was lurking. Your amygdala, that little alarm system in your brain, screams, danger, act now. But here's the thing, you're not dodging saber-toothed tigers anymore. That snarky email isn't going to eat you. That cold shoulder from your friend isn't a life or death threat. So why do you let it hijack your day? Why do you let a fleeting moment steal your peace? The truth is, reacting on impulse doesn't make you strong. It hands your power to someone else. Every time you snap back, you're saying, you control how I feel. But when you pause, when you stay steady, you're saying, I decide. And that, my friend, is where real strength lives. Science backs this up. Studies from places like Harvard show that people who engage their prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles logic and self-control, can manage their emotions better, make smarter decisions, and stay calm under pressure. It's like upgrading your brain from a hair-trigger alarm to a cool-headed commander. And the Stoics, they were onto this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius said, the mind that is not baffled by external things is the mind that rules itself. That's your goal, a mind that doesn't flinch no matter what's thrown at it. So how do you get there? Start with 3 simple tools. First, the Stoic pause. When something triggers you, count to 3 before you do anything. Just breathe. Those 3 seconds are like a shield, giving your rational brain time to step in. Second, train your inner voice. When you feel that surge of anger or hurt, say to yourself, I'm not this feeling. I'm the one who chooses what to do with it. That one sentence snaps you out of autopilot and puts you back in the driver's seat. Third, borrow a trick from the Stoics themselves. Write it down. After a tough moment, jot down what happened, how it made you feel, and how you could respond differently next time. It's like mental sparring. Each time you do it, you get stronger. Imagine your mind as a fortress on a hill. Every jab, every slight, every bit of drama is like an arrow aimed at your walls. If you react, you're opening the gates and letting the chaos in. If you stay calm, those arrows bounce off, harmless. That's not just philosophy, it's power. The next time you feel that urge to lash out or shrink, don't. Pause, breathe, observe. You're not ignoring your feelings, you're mastering them. And in that moment, without saying a word, you've already won. Because the person who stays steady in a storm isn't just surviving, they're thriving. Now let's build on that. Here's the next piece of the puzzle. Not everything is about you. I know it's easy to take things personally. Your friend doesn't text back and you're sure they're mad. Your boss skips over your idea and you think you're a failure. Someone gives you a weird look and you're convinced they're judging you. But here's the reality check. Most of the time, people aren't thinking about you, they're thinking about themselves. That friend? They're swamped with work. Your boss? They're stressed about a deadline. That stranger? They're probably just having a bad day. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus nailed it when he said, "You are not disturbed by events but by the view you take of them." In other words, the stories you tell yourself, those are what hurt you, not the events themselves. When you're insecure, every silence feels like rejection. When you're stressed, every comment feels like an attack. But when you shift your perspective, something amazing happens. You stop carrying burdens that were never yours to begin with. Let's break it down. Imagine you're at a coffee shop, and the barista snaps at you. Your first thought might be, what did I do wrong? But what if they just got chewed out by their manager? What if they're running on 3 hours of sleep? Their attitude isn't about you, it's about them. The same goes for your coworker who didn't smile back or your partner who seems distant. People are caught up in their own storms, and you're not the center of their universe. Realizing, this isn't a letdown, it's liberation. You don't have to decode every glance or obsess over every word. You can let it go and keep your peace. To train this mindset, try 2 things. First, when something stings, ask yourself, is this a fact or is it a story I'm telling myself? The fact is, they didn't reply. The story is, they're ignoring you because you're not important. Stick to the facts and you'll save yourself a lot of pain. Second, at the end of the day, write down 3 moments that bothered you. For each one, come up with an alternative explanation. 1. That doesn't put you in the crosshairs. Maybe they were distracted, tired, or just human. This habit rewires your brain to see the world more clearly, and it makes you stronger every time you do it. Picture yourself as a lighthouse in a storm. The waves crash, the wind howls, but you stand firm, untouched. Other people's moods, words and actions are like those waves. They come and go, but they don't define you. When you stop taking everything personally, you stop reacting with pain. And when you stop reacting, you start living from a place of calm, not chaos. That's the kind of strength that makes you untouchable. Ready for the next step? Let's talk about setting boundaries, because saying enough doesn't mean raising your voice. It means standing your ground with quiet, unshakable confidence. A lot of people think boundaries are about confrontation, about drawing a line in the sand with a dramatic speech. But that's not the Stoic way. For the Stoics, a boundary is a choice, a calm, deliberate decision to protect your peace. It's not about making a scene, it's about making it clear that your space, your energy, and your well-being are non-negotiable. Think about the most respected people you know. They don't yell or beg for respect. They command it, not with noise, but with presence. That's what you're building here. A presence so steady, so grounded that no one dares cross you. Here's a story to drive this home. Imagine a river flowing through a forest, strong and steady. One day, a storm comes, and the wind demands. The river changes its course. The river doesn't argue or fight, it just keeps flowing, calm and unstoppable. That's you, setting boundaries with grace. You don't need to shout, "Respect me." You just need to act like someone who respects themselves. For example, if a friend keeps making snide comments, you don't have to snap. Try saying, "Hey, that doesn't sit right with me. Let's keep this positive." If your coworker dumps their work on you, don't stew in silence. Say, "I'm happy to help, but I can't take on extra tasks right now." Simple, clear, calm. Those words aren't just for them. They're for you. A reminder that you're worth protecting. To practice this, start small. The next time someone crosses a line, pause and ask, "What's the calmest way I can protect my peace?" Then say it, firmly, but without anger. It might feel awkward at first, but every time you do it, you're building a wall around your inner world, one that says, "No chaos allowed." And here's the magic. When you set boundaries with calm, people don't just hear you. They feel you, they sense your strength, and they back off. That's not weakness, it's power. It's the kind of power that lets you walk through life untouched by drama, because you've already decided what's allowed in and what's not. Let's keep building. Respect isn't something you beg for, it's something you project. Have you ever met someone who walks into a room and instantly commands attention? They don't demand it. They don't even ask for it. They just have this quiet energy that says, "I know who I am, and I'm not here to shrink." That's the kind of respect you're going to cultivate. But here's the catch. It starts with how you treat yourself. If you're constantly apologizing for existing, If you're always bending over backward to please people, if you dim your light to avoid making others uncomfortable, you're teaching the world to overlook you. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus said, "First decide who you want to be, then act like it." In other words, respect begins with you showing up as someone worth respecting. Think of it like this. Your energy is like a signal you're broadcasting 24/7. If you're slouched, hesitant, or overly eager to please, you're sending a signal that says, "I'm not sure of myself." But if you stand tall, speak clearly, and move with purpose, you're broadcasting, "I'm here and I'm solid." You don't need to be loud or aggressive, just certain. Try this. The next time someone interrupts you, don't shrink. Finish your sentence calmly but firmly. If someone talks down to you, don't laugh it off or lash out. Look them in the eye and respond from a place of strength, not hurt. And when you catch yourself betraying your own dignity, like laughing at a joke that makes you uncomfortable, stop. Ask, "Am I acting like someone I respect?" That one question will change how you carry yourself. Here's the deeper truth. When you project respect, you don't just shield yourself from disrespect, you inspire it. People start treating you differently, not because you demanded it, but because you showed them how. And even if someone doesn't respect you, it doesn't shake you because your respect comes from within. It's in your posture, your choices, your refusal to shrink. That's the kind of strength that makes you untouchable, because no one can take away what you've built inside. Let's take it further. Here's a game changer. Only you decide if something hurts you. It's tempting to point fingers and say, "They ruined my day," or "Their words broke me." But that's giving away your power. The Stoics didn't play that game. Marcus Aurelius, facing an empire full of enemies, didn't sit around whining about how people hurt his feelings. Epictetus, who endured slavery, didn't let his master's cruelty define him. They felt pain, they were human, but they refused to let it control them. Epictetus put it bluntly, "It's not what happens to you, but how you interpret it that matters." That's the secret. The world can throw stones, but you decide whether they hit you or bounce off. Modern psychology agrees. Dr. Albert Ellis, a pioneer in cognitive therapy, showed that our beliefs about events, not the events themselves, shape how we feel. If someone ignores you, you can tell yourself, "They don't care about me," and feel crushed. Or you can think, "They're probably just busy," and move on. The choice is yours. To train this, try this exercise. The next time something stings, don't react. Instead ask, "What's another way to see this that doesn't make me the victim?" Maybe your coworker's criticism isn't about your worth. Maybe it's about their stress. Maybe your friend's silence isn't rejection. Maybe they're just distracted. Write down the situation, your knee-jerk interpretation, and a new perspective. Over time, this rewires your brain to stay steady, no matter what comes your way. Picture yourself in armor, walking through a battlefield. Arrows fly, but they don't pierce you. Not because you're numb, but because you've chosen what gets through. That's not denial. It's strength. It's deciding that your peace is too valuable to trade for someone else's drama. Every morning, remind yourself, "Today, I choose what affects me. Today, I'm in charge." Because when you stop letting the world dictate your emotions, you become free. And freedom, my friend, is the ultimate shield. Let's talk about the voice in your head, the one that speaks when no one's listening. For too many of us, that voice is a critic, tearing us down the second we slip up. "I'm such an idiot," you mutter when you make a mistake. "I'll never get this right," you sigh when things go wrong. Sound familiar? Here's the hard truth. If you're beating yourself up, you're doing the world's job for it. You don't need enemies when your own mind is waging war. The Stoics knew this, and they were ruthless about guarding their inner dialogue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." If you're filling your mind with self-doubt and shame, you're painting your soul dark. But if you speak to yourself with kindness, with encouragement, you're building a light that no one can dim. Try this. The next time you catch yourself saying something harsh, Stop, ask, would I say this to a friend? If the answer is no, rephrase it. Instead of, I'm a failure, try, I'm learning, and that's enough. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I'm growing, and I'm proud of that. Write down the negative things you tell yourself, then rewrite them, as if you're talking to someone you love. This isn't about faking positivity, it's about treating yourself with the respect you deserve. Cognitive science shows that self-talk shapes your reality. When you change your inner voice, you change how you see yourself. And when you see yourself as worthy, the world's opinions lose their grip. That's how you become untouchable from the inside out. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. When someone provokes you, calling you out, throwing shade, or pushing, the use is prohibited. Violators will be punished according to Article 185 of the Criminal Code of the Republic of China, with a maximum penalty of imprisonment of not more than 3 years, and may be fined not more than $100,000 or a fine alone. Your first instinct might be to clap back, to defend yourself, to prove you're not weak. But what if you didn't? What if you let the noise pass by like a storm that doesn't touch you? Silence isn't cowardice, it's control. It's the ultimate flex, saying, you don't get to pull me into your chaos. Look at someone like Nelson Mandela. After years of imprisonment, he didn't emerge bitter or vengeful. He spoke from dignity, not anger, and his quiet strength changed a nation. That's the power of choosing when to engage and when to let it go. To practice this, start noticing the bait. Those moments when someone's trying to drag you into their drama. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If not, stay silent. Don't explain, don't justify, just let it be. It's like sidestepping a punch. You don't block it, you just don't let it land. This doesn't mean you never speak up. Sometimes, you need to set a boundary or call out nonsense. But when you do, it's on your terms, not because you were baited. Silence is your shield, and every time you use it, you're saying, my peace is untouchable. Complaining is like a slow leak in your strength. This job sucks, you groan. Why is everything so hard? It feels good, for a second, but it's draining you. Every time you complain without acting, you're reinforcing the idea that you're powerless. The Stoics didn't waste energy on whining. They focused on what they could control. Seneca said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That's radical responsibility. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond. Instead of griping about your boss, ask, what can I do today to improve my situation? Instead of cursing traffic, use the time to listen to a podcast or breathe deeply. Here's a challenge. For one day, catch yourself every time you want to complain. Pause and reframe it. Instead of, I'm so tired, say, I need to prioritize rest tonight. Instead of, this is unfair, ask, what's my next step? This shift from complaint to action or acceptance builds resilience. It's like lifting weights for your mind. The more you choose action over whining, the stronger you get. And when you're strong, the world's chaos doesn't stand a chance. You can't build a strong mind without showing up every day. It's not enough to watch a video or read a quote. You have to train, like an athlete preparing for a marathon. The Stoics were obsessive about this. Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. Your mental strength is forged in the small, unglamorous moments. When you choose to breathe instead of snap. When you write down a trigger and reframe it. When you set a boundary without losing your cool. Neuroscience backs this up. Repetition shapes your brain. Every time you practice self-control, you're carving new neural pathways, making calm and clarity your default. Create a mental gym with 3 daily practices. Silence, pause before reacting, focus, do one task without distraction, and courage. Do something that scares you even if it's small. Maybe it's not replying to a snarky comment. Maybe it's saying no to an extra task. These tiny acts add up, building a mind that doesn't crack under pressure. You won't see results overnight, but you'll feel them when life hits hard and you're still standing. That's the Stoic way. Brick by brick, day by day, you build a fortress. Your pain doesn't define you. You decide whether it breaks you or builds you. We all carry wounds. A breakup that left you shattered. A betrayal that still stings. A rejection that made you doubt yourself. It's easy to let those wounds become your identity, to say, I'm broken because of what happened. But that's a choice, and you can choose differently. Look at someone like Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust and turned his suffering into a philosophy of meaning. He didn't stay stuck in his pain, he used it to grow. That's what you're capable of. To heal, face your wound head on. Write about it, talk about it, feel it, but don't live in it. Ask, what did this teach me? How can I use it to become stronger? Then let it go, not because it didn't hurt, but because it doesn't control you anymore. Every time you choose to move forward, you're rewriting your story. You're not the victim, you're the one who rises. And when you rise, no one can touch you because your strength comes from within. You don't need to control the world. You just need to control yourself. Trying to change other people's behavior or bend the world to your will is a recipe for frustration. The Stoics were clear. Focus on what's in your power. Epictetus said, some things are up to us and some are not. You can't control your coworker's attitude or the weather, but you can control your reaction, your attitude, your choices. That's where your freedom lies. Practice the dichotomy of control daily. When something frustrates you, ask, is this in my power? If not, let it go. If it is, act. Another Stoic tool is premeditatio malorum. Spend a minute each morning imagining what could go wrong and how you'll respond calmly. It's like mental rehearsal for life's curveballs. And when you feel the urge to react, use the Stoic pause, breathe, wait, choose. These habits turn you into someone who doesn't need the world to align. You're already aligned within. Your mind should be a sanctuary, not a war zone. Too often, it's a mess of self-criticism, worry, and noise. The Stoics saw the mind as sacred, a place to guard fiercely. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." If your mind is cluttered with guilt, fear, or resentment, you're fighting yourself. But if you fill it with clarity, gratitude, and purpose, you're building a home for peace. Start each day with intention. Before you touch your phone, sit in silence and set the tone. Today I choose calm. Today I protect my mind. When negative thoughts creep in, ask, does this belong in my sanctuary? If not, kick it out. At night, reflect. What did I let in today that I shouldn't? And what did I handle well? This daily ritual, morning intention, midday filtering, evening reflection, turns your mind into a fortress. It's where you think clearly, decide wisely, and stay untouchable, no matter what the world throws at you. Becoming untouchable isn't about shutting down or pretending you don't feel. It's about choosing your battles, mastering your reactions, and building a mind that's stronger than the chaos around you. No one's going to hand you this strength. You have to claim it day by day, choice by choice. The world will keep testing you, but with every pause, every boundary, every moment you choose peace over pain, you're forging a new you. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one step you're taking today to build your fortress? Or just write, I'm untouchable. My mind is my own. That's your declaration, your battle cry. Now go out there and live it.